Today, we're going to ask the question, can a regular fog machine be replaced by one SmokeGENIE? And according to our test, the answer is... of course not! I mean, that's impossible. Let's take a look at this video. You can see on top we have the fog machine, and on below is the SmokeGENIE. And the moment we press the trigger button, you can immediately see the difference between the texture of both smokes. So you can see on top, the fog machine clearly has a higher power output and also a wider reach, meaning that if you have a wide space, the reach would be much faster for a fog machine. However, a second difference is that a fog machine usually has a manual limit of 10 to 15 seconds. That means it has to stop. But also, the SmokeGENIE has a continuous mode where you can keep pressing until the smoke is no longer needed. You can see the fog machine smoke has almost completely disappeared into the background. But for the SmokeGENIE, you can see the texture is still very thick and lingering in the foreground, and that is just two very different effects that you would want according to your needs. Now what you just saw is just a demonstration of the raw power of both machines. But what we think is a more meaningful experiment is to test both machines in terms of its setup time, to see from the rental house condition to making its first puff of smoke, how much time both machines needs to get the setup complete. Alright, so let's check it out. So you can see here from the left we have the fog machine, on the right we have the SmokeGENIE, and both machines are in the rental house condition, meaning that's what you would receive when you just picked it up from the rental house. And so let's check it out. Timer starts. And so the first thing you notice from the fog machine side is I walked away from the fog machine. The reason is you have to locate the power source because all fog machines are wired. And so for the SmokeGENIE, the first thing I would do is to check the battery and also the chamber. These both things should be filled and fully charged when they're fresh off the rental house. And so I would put the chamber on, and you can see the machine detects the chamber. It also detects the battery as well. And so if everything's correct, yes, on 27 seconds, the SmokeGENIE has already made its first puff of smoke. And now you would see the next step for SmokeGENIE is to change to different modes and use different accessories, testing different kind of smoke. And for the fog machine side, you can see I think I've just located the power source. Now I've just moved the fog machine too close to the power source because you cannot have the fog machine in frame. And I'm now doing some cable management stuff. Now for the SmokeGENIE side, I've just put away the kit, and you can see one advantage of the SmokeGENIE is that I can walk around on set in frame to have the smoke in where you want the frame to be, and then just move away and then the shot could be taken. So this is how it looks like. And then fog machine still doing cable management stuff. And you can see I just stopped the timer there for SmokeGENIE. It's 1 minute and 11 seconds. That's the amount of time for SmokeGENIE. For fog machine, let's continue, see what's going on. So as you can see, I have now successfully, you can see the button, you can see it's glowing button right there. It indicates that the power is on. It's always very important when you're using a fog machine, you must plug the power supply in first before you do anything else. And that is because you have to have a boiling time. So the moment you plug the power on, you start boiling up the fog liquid, which lets the fog come out, and you have to wait a few minutes for that. So now as you can see, I have just set up the remote, and now I'm just using this time to shift the fog machine to the correct position, because as I've said, you cannot have the machine in frame, so you can only point the direction of the fog machine towards the set at a distance to hope the smoke hits the place you want. Right now, we are also taking the time to look at the functions that you would get from a regular fog machine. You have the duration, interval. I'm now trying very hard to press the button to see if it comes out. You can't, as I've said, you have to wait for the smoke to boil. And so, right now, let's just keep waiting. So we're just gonna speed it up so you don't have to wait. 2 minutes 40, 2 minutes 50, 2 minutes 3 minutes, and then 3 minutes 10. And oh, okay, right now you can see the green light, it's on. In 3 minutes 13 seconds, the fog machine has made its first puff of smoke. And so right now, the one thing left to do is to point the smoke machine at the correct direction, because you want the smoke to be right there and next to the computer on the desk. So you can see I'm playing around with the ventilation to make sure the smoke, slowly drifts into frame. And I think this is pretty much it. I would call that a good one, yes, and I will stop the timer here, which is 3 minutes and 42 seconds. And so that's it, that's the comparison test. I would just like to make a disclaimer that we are not dissing on traditional fog machines. As I've demonstrated earlier, they are still very different machines, and it's all about what you want in frame, and it's all about fulfilling the effects that you want in your filmmaking ideas. And so use whatever's necessary, and both are perfectly good for their own purposes. And so check out tomorrow where we have the final experiment, which is we're going to test out the continuous mode of this SmokeGENIE. Can we really keep pressing this button until the entire tank runs out? That's the endurance test. That's tomorrow. I'll see you in the experiments.